Hello, welcome to episode 6 of Virtual Strangers, our weekly VR games-focused talk show. Let's introduce the team, if you want to call them a team. We've got Justin, also known as Main Fan, or is he the Pinball Wizard?
Tommy.
How are you doing?
Good, how
You
you
went
doing?
to a pinball convention, was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday I went to Pinfest in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I'm really liking Roots' background there.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you bought a pinball machine?
Well, yeah, I see. Let me right there. That's Medieval Madness. I've had that for I don't know, maybe 2 years now. Uh, I'm getting kind of tired of it. I don't play it anymore, so I decided I wanted to get Monster Bash. That's another really popular pinball machine, so I'm gonna replace it with that. The question is, I gotta sell that thing so I can make room and get Monster Bash delivered. So
Nice.
yeah,
Where is it far from you, Pennsylvania?
no, that's not that far.
All right. Because you don't like traveling, so I just
Yeah,
thought
driving
you guys went out of the
sucks.
house.
My ass was killing me, man. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next person. We've got Roots, but some people like to call him Ruts. How are you doing?
Good. How it's going?
Good.
Just
And then we've got Wes, but some people call him Lethal the Weasel.
Afternoon.
Okay, so let's get things out of the way. Let's start off by saying that we know that this week has been a lot of hardware shit, lots and lots of hardware.
And we
Everyone
can't
loves.
wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ah,
So we're going to be another person that talks about hardware. Not really. We don't talk about hardware. So hopefully this will be refreshing for some people who've probably listened to about 5 different other channels talk about the same stuff. We are going to talk about some Quest stuff. So let's get into that. The Quest is obviously coming on the 21st, along with the Rift S, and along with it, we are going to be having 50 Quest launch titles, and I think there's 4 new exclusives that are going to be coming to the Rift as well. So we've got, let's have a look at my list. Dance Central, Journey of the Gods, Shadow Point, and Vader Immortal. These are the ones that we're going to get on the Rift as well, which are brand new. So out of those 4, I'm going to pass it around. Which one are you guys more interested in? I'll start with you, Roots.
out of the 4 exclusives, Vader Immortal. Obviously, that would be definitely the highlight for me, for
Okay.
sure.
Wes?
Yeah, I keep going back and forth on this one. I've been a Star Wars fan since I was a young man, and I'm super excited to get into that thing, even though it's going to be very cinema driven and with very limited action in it. I'm looking forward to it a lot, but Journey of the Gods looks so cool, and I keep going back and forth. I don't know which one of those I want to play more.
Justin?
Vader Immortal's kind of like the hot chick of the group, but I think Journey of the Gods will be more like the girl that you can count on, who like you can actually have
That
some.
puts out.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that. We should refer to games more in as women. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Eh,
mine would probably also be Vader Immortal, just because it's Star Wars. It's Ninja Theory as well, and it just looks like it's going to be a cool ass experience. I do love shorter stuff like that where they're done well. But I'd say Journey of the Gods is a close second. So interesting
yeah,
that no one mentioned Dance Central. I mean, I thought we'd all be wanting to have a little dance. Oh shit! Hang on.
I was actually waiting to see if one of you guys mentioned it first. So you guys aren't going to play that, right?
No, not at all.
No, no. My daughters will love it, actually, I'm sure.
Mine too. She's got the Just Dance on her Switch right now, and they're loving that. So she'll probably dig that one too. I do want to say that I do appreciate main fans of metaphor. I think it's fitting that Vader Immortal will be that hot chick we have one good hot night with,
Yep.
but Journey of the Gods is the one that we go home to.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, let's go. The other thing I wanted to mention, obviously, we did get a full list of 50 launch titles. So we're going to have a lot of new people obviously buying the Quest, and I'd imagine that's going to be their first VR headset, so they're going to be experiencing VR for the first time. So what I wanted to quickly do is, out of those 50 games or apps, I suppose, which three, if you could only pick three, because obviously not everyone's got loads of money, which three would you recommend to someone who's new to VR, who would want to obviously pick up three of those games? I'll start with your Roots again.
Actually, I put them in order as well. I mean, and it's not about, I'm not thinking about, okay, what can I put somebody into VR to showcase VR per se? I'm going to look at something that's amazing as well, that's not going to get them sick. I picked Robo Recall as number one. Number two, SUPERHOT, and number three, Job Simulator. A lot of other amazing games, but those are just three that I know people that get into VR love. So.
Okay, Wes?
Yeah, I would also go with SUPERHOT for sure, 100%. Great game. I think I would go with Moss. I'm very interested to see how this is going to translate because it's so visually stunning on every other platform. And then Beat Saber, most likely.
Okay, Justin?
Wes said the same three that I was going to say.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I would say if you're a little kid, I would probably go Job Simulator and then probably Rec Room, but that's free. I don't know if that counts in this list.
Yeah, it's true. You could have Rec Room.
And
Yeah, I'd probably go. I'd probably go Beat Saber. It is difficult actually to pick three of those because there's a lot of good stuff on there actually when you look at it. But yeah, I'd probably say Beat Saber it would definitely be one of them, and then it really is a toss up between like SUPERHOT. Maybe I was going to say Moss.
yeah,
Something a bit different. Yeah, it's difficult. Maybe we should have gone five, but yeah, it's if you can only buy three, then I think Beat Saber is definitely one of them. I would say, if nothing else, because that's going to give you I wonder if custom maps are going to work on the Quest. Whether you're going to be able to side load them in and.
No, I don't think that you can't do it on. Yeah, you can't do it on PSVR. I didn't even see Beat Saber on that list for so much. I must have skipped right over it because that would have been my number one. But yeah.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, as long as your PC can access your headset through that USB-C, so anything's possible. Never underestimate the hackers in the community. But the general consensus is right now is with Beat Saber, it's going to be what you get is what it's going to be. You know.
Another one that.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Another one that kids love is Tilt Brush. Whenever I've had little kids here, they'll spend. If you just let them by themselves, they're gonna spend hours drawing stuff. Just they go nuts over that. But that was all.
I think it depends who's owning the headset as well, because obviously, if you're an adult, then you're probably going to recommend different games to maybe a kid. So, like Job Simulator, we all know how much kids love that. So that probably would, if it was a kid, I probably would recommend that along with Beat Saber and maybe, like you said, Tilt Brush. So then it is going to be dependent on who's playing with the VR headset. But I looked at the list and it's a really good list of games. I mean, 50. I know. I think Anthony said that maybe there's too many, but I don't think it's too many. I think they've got a good choice, and I think they've done a good decision to. I think they've limited it to 50. To be honest with you, I think they probably could have had more. I think they're probably holding some stuff back, and then there'll be more stuff trickle out. But I know where they go. A lot of people complain because there was an initial launch of games, and then there's not really been much else like good quality come out for it. Mm-hmm. I feel like because this lends itself to ports with the controls and the 6-stuff headset, that we're going to get a lot more content on this coming over. I don't think we're going to see a dry up of content anytime soon on this. So it's a really good buy for someone who's getting into VR for the first time. And from what I've seen, I saw Apex Construct footage. Some of the devs have actually managed to do a really good job of porting the games, and obviously it's going to be dependent on what the game starts out like. But something like Moss or Apex Construct, they actually look good. I don't think they look bad at all. So you're going to get a good portion of the experience on this headset, which is more than I thought. I thought it were going to be pretty dumbed down, but it's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, I think that's a credit to Oculus because they've been very hands-on with offering training to the developers, showing them how to maximize the resources that they have available.
Okay, that's another thing. I know, Justin, you've looked at this list and you wanted to quickly maybe go through them and just give your thoughts on them quickly. Is that something you want to go through now?
Okay, let's see. Angry Birds, little kids are like that. You know, definitely. You just talked about Apex Construct. Upload said that it's like almost the same as the PC version. Apollo 11, that's awesome. I don't know if you guys have done that. I thought that was awesome, and I put a pilot in Apollo 11. He thought it was amazing. I never played Bait, the fishing game. Did you guys?
No.
Then there's Ballista. I don't even know what that is. Then there's, of course, Beat Saber. We all know that. Big Screen Beta. BOGO. I don't know what that is.
Never heard of it.
Bonfire. No clue. Box VR. That's popular. I've never done it. Creed.
We'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay, Creed. I mean, I love Creed, of course. I don't know if you guys have played Creed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I've heard that it's not as... So was it one of the outlets said that the port's probably one of the not the best port of Creed. It's not translated quite as well as some of the other games, so that'll be interesting. Is that one that's got crossbar? Do we know?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that was
Wes, you have that list, right?
No, it's not on the list.
Oh,
Oh,
damn.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that some of the tracking isn't very good. So, when you in this game, it's on the screen right now. When when you're guarding, you're gonna have your controllers up close to your face, and that's when they said that there's some issues with tracking when you have it right up at your face.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem with any of these inside-out tracking systems because when it gets so close to the camera, it can't pick it up. I was hearing some stuff about the Rift S and gun stocks because when you pull the gun up to your face, your controller's up here, and you get a lot of drift. So there's always going to be limitations with inside out, unfortunately. So it's always a bit of a trade-off. But maybe that's one of those that might not be quite as good as on the Rift.
Okay.
Or anything else.
I'll just keep reading. And can you,
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
Wes? Can you tell us if it's cross-buy?
Creed?
Like, no, if I just keep reading, I'll just keep reading. Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, sure.
like Dance Central.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
cross-buy.
cross-buy. Dead and Buried 2.
Both Dead and Berries are going to be cross-buy.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
another one, actually.
Anthony was talking about that. It's weird that we haven't heard about Dead and Buried 1. But out of nowhere, we're starting to hear that that's going to be available for Quest.
Yeah, it's actually a cross-buy title. So any of us that own the original OG Rift with the touch controllers, we're going to get Dead and Buried. We're going to get Robo Recall without having to buy them. So
I wonder if it's at launch.
it's on the launch list.
It
So
is?
I would
Okay.
imagine so. Yeah.
So then, Drop Dead, Electronauts. I don't even remember seeing Electronauts on the list.
Yeah, that's another one that could be a good one.
Both of these lists are in flux constantly.
Oh yeah, Epic Roller Coasters. Little kids are like that. Face Your Fears 2. I'm excited about Face Your Fears 2 a lot. Like, that's right up there with Vader Immortal for me.
And that's another one I forgot to mention.
Yeah, this is cross-buy as well. And I watched a little bit of footage from it yesterday. It looks really cool. It looks like it's set up more like a campaign style. Short, but it's like a story mode you walk through. So it looks really cool.
Will the Rift get the whole Face Your Fears, or will we get screwed again? That's
That'll
my
be
question.
interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see whether they actually finally do all. Because I know what you're mentioning is basically, just in case people don't know, is that the Go and the mobile Gear VR versions have a lot more experiences that the Rift for some reason never got. So it'll be interesting to see whether we get access, or whether Rift owners or people on the PC will get access to the rest of the experiences.
Yeah, on the Gear VR version, I bought all these extra ones. Like, there was one where you have a crazy ex-girlfriend or crazy girlfriend who puts you into a wall and puts bricks over you while she's cussing at you basically, and you get stuck in the wall and you die in there basically. And then there's
You don't get a happy ending.
no happy ending. I know it sucks.
Oh, okay.
At least give me a glory hole in this wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a plane crash one. You're inside the plane, and then I can't even remember what else. There's a
Spiders.
spider one and
It's on the Rift, is it not?
snakes and all sorts of crazy shit.
Stranger Things.
Oh, Stranger Things, yeah, that one's cool. So then there's First Contact. That'll be a good demo. Fruit Ninja, Guided Tai Chi. I Expect You to Die. That's
Cross-buy.
Cross-buy. Job Simulator. I don't know if that's cross-buy. I guess not. Journey of the Gods.
Cross-buy.
Cross-buy. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Cross-buy.
Moss.
We thought it was going to be cross-buy, but that was just Oculus, I guess, mistakenly putting it in some promo material. Moss has requested to be removed from the cross-buy list, interestingly.
National Geographic VR Explorer.
That's different.
Yeah, Nature Treks, Ocean Rift. Then it's like Oculus Browser, Oculus Gallery, Oculus TV, Oculus Video, Orbis VR,
Cross-buy.
Poker Stars VR, Racket Fury, Rec Room, Robo Recall,
Cross-buy.
Rush, Shadow Point,
Cross-buy.
Skybox VR Video Player, Space Pirate Trainer,
Cross-buy.
Sports Scramble.
Cross-buy.
And that's another one. We haven't heard about that being on Rift, and then all of a sudden they're saying cross-buy.
There you go.
Yeah, SUPERHOT. Is that SUPERHOT's not cross-buy? Oh man.
No, not as of right now. No, we do need to point out that these lists are constantly in flux, and we're still weeks out, so this could all change.
The Exorcist Legion VR, Thumper, Tilt Brush, Ultra Wings,
Cross-buy.
Vader Immortal, Virtual Desktop, Virtual Reality, VR Carts, VR Chat, and Wander. I don't know what Wander is.
I wonder what it is.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I mean, we've got a good list of games there. Going through that list, I'm glad you did, because I thought there was only 4 that are coming across to the Rift as well, and there's actually, I think, 7 or 8. So there's actually more stuff coming when the Rift S and the Quest releases than we thought. So that's interesting. This month, actually, although we didn't get any game announcements really or anything game-related announced, we have actually got a lot coming this month, towards the end of this month, which I'm going to go through that a little bit later on. But I thought we'd just touch on the crossbuy situation, because obviously we've mentioned before about Moss being maybe part of the crossbuy and not being part of the crossbuy. I just wondered what your guys' opinions are on the crossbuy situation, whether, because Oculus is getting a lot of hate lately about a lot of this stuff, and I feel that some people seem to be just jumping on Oculus's back like they're like this evil corporation that are just trying to maximize every penny that they get. But I don't see it myself. I mean, one of the things that we've got with this crossbuy situation is that if you actually look, the actual exclusives that Oculus have funded are actually crossbuy. So the ones that they've actually paid for and they're actually developing, they are actually giving you crossbuy. So that kind of goes against what people are saying about Oculus. The reality is that it's down to the developer who decides whether they accept crossbuy or not. Obviously, we could say, Oculus could say they could force the developers to have crossbuy. I don't know. But that's a difficult situation for them, because they need the developers to make the games, and they don't want to then, annoy developers. Because what people have got to understand is that there's a lot of work that goes into these ports. This is not a quick job. They've got to take something that's obviously made for PC, which is probably not as well optimized as it could be, and then they've got to somehow downgrade it, reduce the polygons all throughout the entire game, reduce the texture quality, change the lighting, put baked-in lighting in there, and they've got to play test it for hours and hours to make sure it runs right. This is not a quick job. If it's already designed for the Go, maybe, then yeah, that's fair enough. But if it's something for the Rift or for the PSVR, this is not a quick job. So I don't think it's fair to say that developers are being greedy by them not giving the crossbuy as an option. But at the same time, obviously, okay, someone else take over.
All right. This I've kind of went back and forth on, debating with myself, because crossbuy is really one of the things that sold me on buying a Quest. I already own a lot of these games that are on this launch list, but I own it on Steam. I own it on PlayStation VR. I don't buy a lot from the Oculus store. So if Oculus wants me to buy this game a second time, a third time, they need to give me something. And I think cross-buy goes a long way to adding to the value for this new device. Now, that said, I think Oculus is doing the best that they can here. I think if it were up to them, they would have complete parity across both devices. They want their Rift S and their Quest headset to be like a PlayStation and a PlayStation Pro, where if you buy a game, you buy it for both, and it's not considered to be separate platforms. But they also need the developers to bring their games over. They can't be demanding too much of them. And if a developer looks at this more of a like a Wii U and 3DS situation, then of course they're not going to want to give away their hard work. So I kind of see both sides of it. I think if it were up to Oculus, they would have every title be cross-buy. But again, they need the developers on their side, so they left it up to them.
They're in a difficult situation. I mean, they've got a lot of decisions to make, and it's easy for us to sit back and look at what the decisions they're making, even with things like the Rift S with the IPD adjustment and things. I don't know. I don't see them as the enemy myself. I think they're doing a lot of good for VR, and I just feel like maybe within the community that we hang around in, a lot of people are shitting all over Oculus and making out like there's some sort of evil corporation, and they no longer care about the customers, and they're just trying to get as much money as they can. And I just don't see it personally myself. So I thought it'd be interesting for us to touch on that and maybe say our piece, and hopefully some people will agree, some people probably won't agree. That's fine. Okay, anyone else going to say anything on that before I move on? No? Okay, what was the other things we got on there?
Vader Immortal.
Yeah. We've got Vader Immortal hands-on, which I did have a quick read about. There isn't really a lot to say on this because obviously they only got to sample a little section of it. It was one thing that did sound quite cool though. They were talking about just the presence of Darth Vader, him being there and he's being like looming over you. They said that they've done a really good job with the lightsabers as well. When they actually hold the lightsaber, the haptics, they've got like variable haptics. It feels like energy surging through your hand while you're holding the Beat Saber, which sounds really cool. So, and that just, to me, just shows the attention to detail that they've put into this game I think will be second to none. I think that it's going to be really, maybe it is a class of short, but I think it's going to be very polished. They're going to have lots of little details and little cool little things that are going to happen in the game, which are really going to make it a special experience. Have you guys got anything you want to say about this? Anyone else?
Yeah, they also...
Go ahead.
They also said, when they were doing the lightsaber battles, sometimes they're surrounded 360 degrees by enemies. That's really cool. Instead of everything being front facing. But it did sound like the lightsaber battles were a little too easy.
I think there were some droids, and you just I guess it's a balance between making you feel powerful, because the lightsabers are supposed to be able to cut through anything really, but at the same time giving a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's going to be kind of like a more of a, what's the right word for it? Maybe like they don't want you to fail, maybe because maybe they feel like it's going to ruin the sort of cinematic experience, and they're going to go for more just having the gameplay flow and you just going through like an experience. So we'll see. I'm really interested in this. This is going to be a really cool. I mean, I think who doesn't want to hold a lightsaber and fight, Darth Vader? So, but are we actually fighting Darth Vader, or are we actually with Darth Vader? That's the thing. I don't know. Are we goodies or baddies? Does anyone know?
Oh, probably good guys.
I think that we're good guys that he's trying to recruit. I think we're kind of in an in-between space to start the story. But that's just what I'm taking from the trailer. I don't know that. I do want to reiterate just how excited I am for this. This is something that I've dreamed of, since I was young, and I'm so happy that this is a cross-buy title, because obviously if I had to pick, I would pick on the Rift so I could get, the full textures and detail of it. But since this is cross-buy, I don't have to wait for it to come out on the Rift. I'll be able to get this on launch day and check it out on Quest first, play through it. I'm sure it's a short experience. And then when it comes to Rift, I'll get to experience it again in full detail. Super pumped. Cannot wait for this one.
Your kids are gonna love this as well. This is a really good demo thing, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, and with the demo, anything that's drawn out like a long adventure games, since Oculus isn't letting us have multiple users, and anything that doesn't have multiple save slots on it, it'll have to be a short experience like this or something that's arcade style that you demo to people. So yeah, if this is as short as we think it's going to be, it'll be an excellent demo title.
Cool.
Are you
Go on, Ruts.
are you worried about your TV, Wes? Or are you going to take some precautions? Because Quest plus lightsabers plus Wes's TV could be not good.
Well, I'm taking my Quest into my living room, so my play space is going to be about 3 times the size it is in here.
Nice.
So yeah, there's a bigger, nicer TV in there I could potentially destroy, but I don't think I'm going to turn my my Guardian off with that big play space. I don't think I'll have to.
Man.
Yeah, that's good. The good thing about the Quest, I suppose, you don't have to worry about setting things up and having a dedicated area. You can do it wherever you want. So, if you've got a bigger room, just put it on your head and go.
That's right.
I never turn my Chaperone or Guardian off because I'm too scared.
You've got a massive play space though. When you're in a small play space, you're tripping it on all the time, and it just becomes annoying having the wireframe. It takes you out of the experience. So I turn it off, and I've just learned to not move. So I basically don't. I've learned to just rotate on a spot, kind of. It's very rare that I'll drift off in my room anywhere near the edges anymore. But when I first got into VR, yeah, I thought I told you the story about when I headbutted a table because I went to bend over and I was at the other end of the room and headbutted a table full whack. So yeah, yeah, that was interesting.
What was the game?
That was Zing, The Land Beyond. I was looking at the water running on the floor and I thought, oh man, that looks nice.
Did you keep playing?
I just wanted to take a closer look at it to see. I wonder if it looked like close up, and I just went like that, and kind of the headset was here, and it just went boom onto a table, and I luckily I kind of hit it square on the HMD, so it kind of just pushed back against spread it out across my head rather than hitting the top of my head, and it shocked me though. I mean, obviously I didn't expect it, and then I carried on playing. Of course, man, why do you stop?
Yeah.
Some other things. I think Oculus said that this game's gonna come out on Quest first.
That's
I think
right.
It's going to be a short time exclusive, maybe.
Another thing about it, in Vegas, I did the Void, the Void Star Wars experience, and I think this is tied to that, from what I've heard.
Okay.
So
I think it's part of that story. I think.
Yeah. So that's all.
Okay, anyone else got anything they want to say before we move on to the next subject? No?
Oh yeah, well, remember this one thing. This is a free thing that just came out that I saw on Reddit today. So since we were talking about Star Wars, I wanted to talk about this really fast. You can we'll put a link in the description so that you can get this, but I haven't gotten to try this yet. But from the comments I read, it's really cool. Just some student made this like for his class or something, and you're in a TIE fighter or X-wing. I mean, you're in an X-wing, and you actually get to fly along the Death Star and fight TIE fighters.
Get it while you can though, because it's not going to last very long.
Yeah.
It actually uses audio from the films as well, so I mean, there's no way that they're going to leave that to stay. Yeah. You can actually hear the audio from the film and the trench. I watched some of the video. It does look cool, and definitely download it now because I don't think it's going to be up for very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff like this never lasts.
No.
Yeah. His link is on Dropbox. I haven't downloaded it yet. I need to download it, and then I can put it on my own, make my own link that's not going to get taken down.
Well, with all women, with our thousands and thousands of followers,
yes,
we're gonna highlight it, and it's gonna get taken down pretty quick. So
yes,
be fast. So let's move on to we'll talk about the one game that has released this week, which is a PSVR game, which is already on the PC, which is Box VR. I've tried this on a free demo. I don't know if anyone else has tried it.
Yeah, I have it.
You've got it, have you? Okay.
Yeah, I got it on the Oculus store.
What do you think?
It's pretty good. I mean, if you like boxing, I mean, it's not this. It's not like Thrill of the Fight. It's not like Creed where you're actually um, getting to decide when to hit. You're more, more of just like a try or exercise thing. But it's got what I like about it, as I'm now remembering looking at it, is it works your legs as well. Like you'll be dodging stuff and crouching down, and after a while, you really are feeling them, your thighs burning. So it can be a good workout. So.
Yeah, I tried it on a free weekend a couple of months ago, so I don't know if it's been updated, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm the fittest person in the world, but I just didn't find it that tiring. I mean, I did the hardest one. I did a couple of the hardest ones, like a 25-minute session. I find I'm more out of breath with Beat Saber for 20 minutes on expert than this. And this is supposed to be I'd say this is more of a fitness app than a game. So you'd expect this to give you more of a workout. I think if you're kind of new to exercise, and maybe you'll find it good for a while, but I can imagine you're going to quite quickly, run up to you're going to find yourself struggling to get out of breath and really work out that much. So I think they need to get some really higher intense workouts on it, maybe increase the intensity of some of the workouts. The hit detection was also felt a bit wonky for me. I don't know if you experienced this, Roots, but I found sometimes, especially with the uppercuts, you can adjust the timing on the options. You can adjust the delay, and I just couldn't get it right, and I just felt like I was missing too many punches, which just frustrated me a little bit. But it's fun. It's quite expensive though. It's like $30 or something like that. So
$24.95, I think. I know I didn't experience that, but to be honest, I don't know if everybody's like this. I don't want to work out in VR. I'd rather do it outside of VR. It gets too hot too quick, and then you're worried about breaking it like Sebastian or something. Sweat, and it just all around. It's cool to play a game where you get worked up like Beat Saber, and yeah, you're exercising at the same time. But to physically say, okay, I'm going to go work out right now, and then put on a fucking headset and it's hot as hell. No, it doesn't sound good.
Okay, so I don't know. I think I don't know if I can recommend this game. I tried it for the free weekend. I did about an hour and a half in it, so I tried to really like it, but I just found I wasn't really getting that much of a workout. So if you want to do a workout game, I'd honestly say Beat Saber is probably more of a workout, but I don't really think working out in VR is that much of a thing anyway. I don't think anything's really going to work out like doing actual proper exercise out of in a rowing machine or on a bike or something. So
I know only Vive people could use Vive trackers, but that would be cool if there's a game where you can actually kick too. I don't know if there are exercise games like that.
Yeah, I mean they do squats. Obviously they're making you effectively duck underneath things, so you are kind of doing squats, so you're using your lower legs on that. But yeah, I don't know. It's like Dance Central. That's going to be interesting because that's only tracking your hands and your head. So it's going to be down to you, I suppose, whether you do the leg moves or not. But that's one thing. The one game where the Kinect actually worked well, because obviously that did track your whole body. But that was the only game. Right. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else want to say anything before we move on? No. Okay. What I wanted to do quickly before we move on to our games is just mention that we have got quite a few games coming out towards the back end of this month. So we've got a bit of a quiet period. I just want to quickly just list some of the games. Obviously, we've already got the Quest games that we've mentioned, a few that I didn't even mention. So we've got Dance Central, Journey of the Gods, Shadow Point, Vader Immortals, what's that, Tennis Scramble, was it Sports Scramble? What were the other ones, guys?
Five Nights at Freddy's?
Five Nights at Freddy's. I meant the Quest ones. That
the Quest.
We discussed Dead and Buried 2. Someone else will have to take over.
I don't know. As far as new exclusives, I think we've pretty much covered all of them. Most of the stuff that's coming to Quest is Rift ports.
The other stuff we've got is just mainly PSVR, really. So we've got,
As usual.
yeah,
Mhm.
Trover Save the Universe, which is coming to PC, but it's actually coming, I think that's beginning of next month for PC. So we've got the end of this month for PSVR, and then a couple of days later it's coming to PC. Blood and Truth, that's a big one. We've got Five Nights at Freddy's, which is now confirmed for the 21st, the same day as the Rift S and the Quest are launching. And the other one, which we're actually interested in, is Freediver, which we've not got a confirmed date, but it did say May on the trailer. So I'm sure there'll be some others that pop up. There's also what's that, Age of Darkness Sentinel, which is supposed to be coming out April. I did actually email the developers on this one, and they never got back to me. So I'm not sure when this is coming, but that's another one to keep an eye out, see if that comes out this month. So
Yeah.
let's move. Oh, go on. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm still keeping my fingers crossed, kind of hoping that Oculus lets us have one of those exclusives when they launch the S here in a few weeks. Maybe they're holding on to something to try to gain back some momentum in the press. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I
That's
hope
a
so.
good point, actually, because we've got four. Is it four? We've got let's name them: Defector, Stormland, Lone Echo 2, and Asgard's Wrath, which are all confirmed big titles for this year. We're now in May. Obviously we'll be at the end of May, so we're going to be June soon, and we still haven't seen one. So it's going to be interesting to see where they come out. I'm guessing they're maybe going to be coming, summer, autumn time. So that'll be interesting.
Obviously, they're not going to want to launch them right on top of one another, so they're running out of time. I imagine they'll hold two over to the holiday season, but it would make total sense for one of them to come right now. So.
The thing is, we are actually getting Rift games, because obviously we've got these cross-buy games. We've got Vader, Immortal, and Dance Central, so we are getting new stuff as well.
I guess that's true.
Maybe they've got enough coming out on release, and maybe next month or the month after we'll see something. But yeah, we'll cover them as and when they come up, but we haven't got any more information on those. Okay, so let's move to our game discussion. We're going to follow Anthony's lead, and we're going to actually take it in turns, go around in a loop, and then back round again. So one game each, and then one game again. So we'll start with Roots first. What's the first game you want to talk about this week?
First game I was going to talk about is a PlayStation VR exclusive, at least for now. I don't know if there's any plans on it ever going to PC, but it's Tetris Effect. And I had heard about this game, and everybody was talking about the demo and how it was like a mix. Most people liked it. Some people didn't think that the VR was actually VR. I know Anthony, for some reason, didn't really think that it was as amazing as I found it to be, and I didn't even really think anything of it until I watched Wes's Let's Play on his channel, Lethal Weasel VR, and it was amazing. And I was just watching it, and then I talking to him about it, and hearing that that the developer had made other games and how they interweave the audio, the haptics, the visuals. You got all this stuff going on in the background. It's the tempo's speeding up, it's slowing down. I'm on the last. I don't know if Wes got to how far he's gotten. I know he was about the same place. I got to the last level, and I'm still trying to beat it. It is fucking hard, man. That it gets going so fast, and there's so much going on. And I prided myself as somebody that is really good at Tetris, but no, it's amazing. I think anybody that doesn't give this a proper shot is truly missing out, because visually, with audio, it's just stunning. Everything about it is amazing. I know, Wes, what do you think about this?
This is a divisive game, and it has been since they announced it. They announced this at E3 last year, and everyone was expecting BioShock and all this other awesome, announcements, SUPERHOT sequel. And then what they ended up giving us was Tetris Effect. And ever since then, it's been a contentious subject. But, after the initial day, like everybody else, I was disappointed after E3 for about a day. But I began to give it the benefit of a doubt. Tetris, I've never had a bad time playing Tetris, So I thought it would be fun. So when I got it, I was expecting that I would like it. What I was not as expecting is how much I would like it. This game is awesome, man, and it starts out okay, and it builds from start to finish. The levels, visuals, audio, everything gets better as it goes and more intense. And when you get toward the end of the game, it actually gets hard to focus on the Tetris because the effects are so intense that you're trying to look through all the stuff to find the Tetris in it. So I get why people prejudge this game. It's not your typical VR game, but it's a hell of an experience. And yes, it is overpriced, in my opinion. But hey, this is a physical title. I got it on rental from GameFly. I'm sure you can find it used if you look for it on eBay or GameStop. And I absolutely 100% recommend this to anybody who's ever had fun playing Tetris before.
I went. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. I haven't played this. Is there any way to change the view? Because like this view right there, like looks boring to me. If I could be like up inside of it,
You zoom in. You can zoom in with your left joystick closer. And I found like on the last level, I had to be zoomed out because I like to be up close. Because you'll literally be looking up and down. But when things are going so fast, the levels, it'll like say it's level 7 and it's at a good clip, but it's not too fast. Then all of a sudden you'll hit like line 12 or 11, and then you'll hear a bing, and then all of a sudden the visuals start popping and the speed jumps to 12, and now shit's flying, and you're trying to it gets really crazy. I mean, the biggest thing I would stress, I mean, it's not magic. If you don't like Tetris, you're not going to like this game. Like it's Tetris, but it's the visual. Like I said, the visuals that are so everything that they put. What was that other game, Wes, that you bought for the Steam that the other guy had bought made that I guess was Res Infinite, right?
Right.
Yeah, this developer is really good at mixing the haptics with the audio and the visuals. It's I would put it on like the level of a work of art of some sort. And I really do think you're missing out. Unless you really fucking hate Tetris, then stay away from it. But if you like visuals, maybe wait for a sale. But I ran down to Best Buy and I bought the physical copy. So, I like to have it. So,
yeah, if this game it gets so intense at times, unlike other Tetris games I've played, the way that they mix up the artistic aspects of the game in with the gameplay and the tempo changes in the speed of the game. I mean, you guys have seen me play, 5 to 10 horror games by now that barely move my pulse. I've had 3 sessions in this game that when I finished it, my heart was beating out of my chest. It gets that intense.
Damn.
Yeah, I haven't played this, but sometimes just watching Tetris puts me in like this meditative state where you just kind of zone out and you're kind of just mesmerized by what's going on. So I can imagine when you're in this with all the things going on and the music. 'Cause the music's great as well, from what I've heard. It's really the first track, especially. I can't remember what it's called, but the very first track, love it. I love that track. So yeah, this is one that I actually do want to try. I don't know if we're ever going to see this on PC, but I'm sure when I do get a PSVR eventually, this is going. I'll probably be able to pick it up cheap and give it a go. Anyone else got anything to say on it? No? Okay, Wes, what's your first game of the week?
My first game this week is one of the greatest VR titles that we've had so far. A game we talked about earlier, SUPERHOT VR. This game is a prime example of taking a mechanic that is popular in flat games, that being bullet time manipulation, and making it exponentially better in VR. This whole game is based around that mechanic. The way it works is time only moves when you move. And not only that, it moves at the speed which you move. So if you make fast movements, the enemies are going to come in on you and try to get you faster. If you make slow movements, they're going to move in more slowly. And at first glance, this looks like a basic, shooter game that all you're doing is shooting. But as you get up in the later levels of this game, it becomes more of a strategy type game or even a puzzle game because it's really about the order that you do things in, the resources that you have available to you, and what order you're going to use them in to kill all the enemies before they kill you. Um, the visual style, even though on the flat screen it looks very basic and bland, when you get in VR, the 3D really pops. Everything looks great, and it's not very difficult for a machine to render this. So I'm very much looking forward to trying this out on my Oculus Quest when it gets here in a couple of weeks. And I just absolutely love this game. I recommend it to anyone. This is great for newcomers. You stay stationary in it, so unless you just get nuts with your movements, which I don't recommend because the guys are going to come at you faster. This game, anybody can pick this game up and play it very easily with no worries of VR sickness. 10 out of 10. Absolutely love this game. What did you guys think about it?
Loved it. Yeah. This is one of the earlier games I played. I read a lot about this game. This game doesn't look like much on the screen, but when you're actually in there, it's the aesthetic of it and everything is so cool. I really love the way this game looks, even though it's quite low poly. The mechanic, you can move your head, so you can, if you keep your body still and just kind of tilt your head left and right, you can move that, and then time doesn't move. So it only moves when you actually physically move your body around, like in a 6-degree way. And the mechanic's really good. I mean, no other game's done it. Obviously, SUPERHOT are the ones that have invented this. I'm really surprised we haven't seen a sequel yet, because it's quite an old game now. And you'd think that with the low poly graphics, they'd be able to knock something up, and it wouldn't take that much time because it's more just designing the levels rather than having to do textures and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a great game. It's a must-buy for any platform, no matter what you're on. It's quite short. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, how long did it take you guys? Probably a couple of hours most.
A couple of hours.
But you have got like an endless mode. You've got incentive to go back, like headshots only and stuff like that. I think there's like some sort of wave mode where you've got to try and kill as many as you can, and the counter goes up. So you've got like a target of 69 guys. I don't know why I picked 69. Maybe it's on my brain. Mm-hmm. But you've got like 69 guys you've got to kill, and it's hard. I didn't manage to do any of the targets. I mean, I didn't really try that hard, but 13, 14 guys later, and you started to struggle. But you can kind of teleport in that as well. Like there's because they've got these like triangles which you can grab. When you grab them, that's how it let you load a new level basically. But in the survival mode, they pop up sometimes, and if you grab them, it moves you to a new location with more guns. But yeah, it's really cool. We've not seen anything else like this. It's kind of like a puzzle game almost, like a shooter puzzle where you've got to just repeat over and over again until you try and figure out the best way to attack. Try and dodge. You can block things with your gun. It's really cool game. I hope that they do. That's worth mentioning as well. That the developers have said that this game has actually made more money than the flat game. So, because this was originally a flat game, so this was a really successful VR game, and they've got to make another one. There's no way that you can have such a successful game with the player base that they're going to have now with the Quest as well. I mean, it's ripe for a sequel. So it would be interesting to see whether we get something this year or maybe next year. But they've got to do something with it. Yeah,
I think that's part of the problem is that people keep buying this game because it has such a reputation of being so fun. It's endlessly replayable. Even if you don't go through and do all these challenges and things, it's just fun to play. You could play through the main campaign over and over again, and it'd take a while before this gets old. It's super fun. It's super hot.
It's super.
Wasn't there a rumor the sequel was going to be super cold?
That was a rumor, yeah.
That was one of those E3 rumors I was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. there was a photograph somebody leaked that looked like they were on the conference floor and practicing the graphic for Super Cold. So that was one of the things we were expecting when we got Tetris Effect.
Mhm.
So
I put my brother in this game. You know, he never tried VR. He's not really a gamer, and he lost his fucking mind. You know, I have a pretty big play space, but he went all over the play space, flying all over. Just, it was almost like he was fighting for his life. He really felt like he was gonna die, and he was. I was like, slow down. Time moves when you move, but he just kept going nuts. And like back then, I had a really expensive monitor on my desk. He ran into my desk, and the monitor fell on the ground. And I was like, "Oh my god, you're done!" Like, and now I don't have a monitor ever since that day. No more monitor out. Um, so yeah, oh, and
yeah,
he ordered a Quest. So I told him
yeah,
Nice.
he's
I
gonna
got to
get
say
yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm looking most forward to when I get my Quest. Is I've always had to play this game tethered. Now I get to experience it wireless. I'm sure it's going to be like a whole new deal, right?
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
gonna have to retrain yourself to be able to move because you're gonna be that used to not being able to move around. You're gonna find yourself having to force yourself to move around your room. So, because that's one thing that I've had to train myself to stand where I am, mainly because I don't want to run into anything or bash anything. But yeah, if you've got a big, like if you've got a living room which is quite large, you're gonna be able to move around a bit. And I think that this game lets you do it as well. You can just go wherever you want, so you don't have to stay in that spot where it spawns you in. You could move around quite a lot. So like if someone I know you're not allowed to use this outside, but if you could use it outside, imagine that like running through the level and just yeah, that would be so cool. Has anyone else got anything they want to say before we move on?
No, I just thought it was one of the things that shocked me on this right off the bat is that people don't take into consideration you're really monitoring how much you move, and then you take the gun and you shoot it, and that bullet flies out of there, and time goes with the bullet, not with you, and then it just changes everything. I thought that was really kind of a cool
Yeah, you,
mechanic
you,
as
you
well.
find yourself kind of just stood still, don't you? Like you'll shoot someone like this, and then you'll like be stood with your arm out, and then you're kind of like just moving your head around trying to figure out your next move. And it's just there's nothing else like it. There's no other
Yeah.
game. There's no other flat game that could ever replicate what you've got in this game. It would just never work.
Yeah, I find myself standing there wiggling my gun just to get the guys to move just a little bit,
hmm
get them right where I want them, and then pow, you
I
know.
like how
Yeah,
the weapons are different too. Like the first time that I got to the level where all I saw in front of me was a high-heeled shoe,
Hmm.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, you know what I mean? So it's not all bullets and guns and knives either. Sometimes you're throwing a coffee cup at them.
well,
So,
you don't get enough guns really, so sometimes you have no choice but to use an ashtray or, a bottle or something. So yeah, it'd be cool if they played a bit more with that as well, because they could really do some funny scenarios where they have certain objects you have to use, and yeah, I really hope they do. They've got to do a sequel. I mean, it's got. How long has it been since this came out? This is one of the launch titles, is it? It's like 3 years or something?
well, you got to
Forever.
figure too, one of the problems with, like you were saying, they need a proper sequel, but they keep coming out with different platforms, and all these developers are like, well, fuck, I'll just port it over to the PlayStation. And then they get done with that, and now they're porting to the Quest. So all the time is probably porting,
Yeah.
and they're
Well, I
making
don't
so
know.
much money. Why not?
They've got to be doing something in development. I mean, like I said, it's not a heavy aesthetic. They're not going to spend a lot of time. Like they reuse a lot of assets. There's not really a lot of new assets in this game, so you'd think that this would be one of the easier games to develop for, and it's just a case of just level design really and creating levels. So yeah, let's hope that we get a sequel.
Cross our fingers.
Okay, Justin, what's your first game?
Well, my first game is Doom 3 BFG VR mod. This mod came out in 2016. The original mod was by like a guy went by the name of like Codes for Fun, and that's the one I played. I played all the way through the game in VR. I mean, I beat it back when it came out. I think like 2014. But then when it came out, the VR mod, I was like, oh shit, I got to do this all over again. This is still one of the best VR games there is. I don't know if that's sad or what, but it is. It feels like it was made for VR. This is just some video I got off of YouTube of somebody playing. So one hand you have a flashlight, and then in the other you have your guns, and it's all motion controls. And there's a newer mod that's called like Fully Possessed mod, and that's the better one because you can also, in that one you can like teleport. You can put your flashlight on your head or like on your chest, I think. And there's just a lot
on the gun, I think.
Oh, you can put it on the gun. Yeah, you put it on the gun. Oh, and like panels and stuff, you can actually interact with your hands. Whereas in the original mod, you couldn't do that. So definitely get the Fully Possessed mod. This game is like part first-person shooter, part horror game. It's almost pretty much more horror game. So there are jump scares. You're definitely going to get scared a lot in this game. It's so awesome. Oh, and because it's the Doom 3 BFG, you can also play the DLC, which is Resurrection of Evil and the Lost Missions. So there's a ton of content. And Doom 3 BFG also comes with the original Doom and Doom 2, so you could play those too. And there are VR mods for those too, if you don't already know. And those have motion controls also.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're awesome. I have videos on my channel of Doom 1 and 2 in VR. I have never made a video of Doom 3. I probably should. And you can actually add high texture packs to make the game look even better. But I found that sometimes when levels loaded, like there would sometimes be some issues where like the game wouldn't load correctly. So it's a little risky. Like I played through the Lost Missions and I got really far, but then there was one point where the game just like wouldn't load past it. And I'm not sure if it's because I was using a high-res texture pack or if the developer of the Fully Possessed mod just like had some issue there they needed to fix. But the full game, should have no issues. The regular Doom 3 game. Did you guys play this?
I've played it, yeah.
What do you think?
I liked it. I didn't bother with the texture packs because I read so many people saying it crashed, so I just did it at the standard textures, and it does look dated, but it's such a cool experience. I did like 2 hours, but I did find it get a little bit repetitive for me, so I kind of left it alone. But the first like hour and a half, it did fit. It felt like a fully fleshed out, polished, even though the graphics aren't amazing. Just the story and the way that the pacing of the game, and I was blown away by it when I first started playing it. It's like you say, it feels like a native VR game. And you've got full room scale. It's even got like voice recognition, so you can open doors and things with your voice. Yeah, really, really cool. But it was just, I didn't find it that scary. I think it was probably just the graphics. Probably sometimes I find that if the graphics are a bit too low poly and what have you, it takes me out of the experience to the point where I don't really feel that fear. But the actual gunplay is solid. You've got a proper NPCs that are fighting back against you, which is something you don't see very often. It's a great. It's you can pick it up so cheap as well. If you wait on it for sale, you can pick this game up for, I think I paid like £1.50 or something ridiculous for it. And then obviously the mod's free, really easy to install. And then I did have a problem with the sound, but that's if you're not using built-in audio, you have to just Google it, because I had to go into one of the INI files and change something to get because I use aftermarket headphones. But other than that, yeah, it worked fine. Just straight up worked. There's some like funny stuff where, because there's like cut scenes, and because obviously they're designed for flat, it turns into a proper jank fest. Like, it's so funny some of the stuff you see, because you're kind of stood where you're not supposed to be stood, so you're seeing things you're not supposed to be seeing.
Yeah. And
then you've got like half a torso, or he walks into the room, but he don't really walk in properly because they didn't animate that part, because they don't see it in the flat game and stuff. It's quite humorous, really, when you actually watch some of this stuff. But yeah, it's there is still some jank in there, but overall, whoever made this mod, I wish more people would make mods for some of these games, because if they can do it for this, I mean, it's so good, it's so high quality. And like you say, you got to go for the Fully Possessed mod, because that's the ones that's got all the features. And I put the flashlight on the gun because I found it just easier just to aim and have the gun on there as well. Does the game vary up at all? Because after 2 hours, I felt like I was just going down the same corridors. That was my main issue.
It definitely varies. The game's way longer than 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like a 7. I think I looked at a quick playthrough and it was like 7 hours long or something. So it's a long game. I just found myself getting a bit bored of just doing the same thing. But maybe I should go back to it.
Yeah, I bet the spider enemies would have bothered you.
You think?
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
if it depends on the graphics. If they're not, like I say, I find like I did a bit of Skyrim and I found the spiders in there didn't really bother me that much,
Oh,
just
okay.
because it's not realistic. I know there is actually a mod for Skyrim for the spiders to make them more realistic. So maybe I should do that, but
Yeah.
I probably would never finish the game if I did that. So yeah, any of you guys played this? I think Roots, you played it. I saw you on Steam playing it last night.
Yeah, I've tried it. It's pretty cool actually, but it reminds me a lot of Dead Effect too, but not as like. I was going to ask you because I know you and I've played quite a bit of that together.
Yeah.
What do you think about this game compared to that as far as like weapons and overall objectives and type of stuff? At
The,
least
the,
from what
the,
you.
the gun handling on Dead Effect is better than Dead Effect 2, but that's obviously a game that the developers made. So you've actually got two-handed weapons. You can actually two-hand and you can reload manually with the magazine if you want to as well. Whereas this is all one-handed, so even the shotgun, like the animations are automated. So when you do a reload, it automatically reloads. You can't use both your hands and things. So it's not like obviously made for VR in that respect. But I just found that this was felt like a proper AAA.
AAA.
The game, there's just the ebb and flow of the gameplay. Whereas Dead Effect 2, you kind of just go into a level, you have to go to a certain place, and then you go out of a level, and then this game feels better to me than Dead Effect 2. I mean, we've put a few hours into Dead Effect 2, but I've actually deleted it recently. I just don't think I can bother to go back into that game. I felt like I was playing it more just because I was playing it with you rather than wanting to play it, but we need to maybe talk about that in another day. But yes, I prefer this to Dead Effect 2 overall, just because of the feel of it and the polish, not the polish, but just the design, the game design. You can tell has been made by a AAA studio.
And that's what I'm always talking about whenever people say that flat gaming is shallow and VR is not, and I will say the exact opposite. Not that VR is not amazing, it's just that the content only goes so deep and you feel it, if you've gamed for 30 years like I have, you feel the difference. And so once we get to that transition to where we're seeing more of these Skyrims or like even this, which like you said has its problems, is still a fledged out full AAA game. That I think I just look forward to it, and I don't think we're that far off.
Yep. Anyone else? No? Okay. Right, so I'll move on to mine, even though the bells are going to ring in 5 minutes, but I'll try and be quick. So my first game is, what should we go for? Batman Arkham VR. This is a game that was a launch title with the PSVR. It came to the PC afterwards as well. It was a timed exclusive. It's a game that I actually didn't bother with for a while because I'd already watched before I even got VR, I watched a playthrough because I didn't think I was ever going to play it because it was a PSVR exclusive. So I kind of spoiled it for myself, but it'd been long enough. I picked it up on a sale for like £3 or something. I thought, for that price, I may as well give it a go. And I was blown away by this game. This game is, it's more of an experience than a game, so maybe that's what you should look at it as. But just the graphics are amazing. I mean, some of the best graphics. You can tell this has been like just when a guy gets close up to you, you can see all these even blemishes on his skin and everything, and the facial animations, and it's just got that AAA again. It's got that AAA polish and feel to it, where it's like a glimpse into the future of what AAA games are going to be like when we get these developers making games, and it's fucking awesome. Honestly, you can see from the trailer alpha. I mean, when you're actually in the game, it looks so real. I mean, the characters are some of the most realistic looking characters, with the animations and the voice work and everything so good in this game that it really draws you in. You've got the whole boot up sequence where you go down into the Batcave. Shit. Someone else.
Yeah, I love this. I love this game. What were you gonna say, Roots?
Oh, I was just gonna say I actually was getting ready to Alex was talking about doing this game, and I had tried to play it a couple different times, and sometimes I'll have an issue where I'll get so far in a game and I'll quit, and then I'll go back and try to play it again and forget where I'm at. But this game, for some reason, the save game kept not working, or every time I would try to go back in, something would be wrong, and I'd have to do that first part again and again. So I had pretty much written it off, and Alex was telling me about how amazing this was, and I just finished it today, and I'm not
Don't
going to.
spoil it. Don't spoil
No,
it.
I'm not going to talk about spoilers, but it was just so good. The way that they did everything, it made me wish that they had a full-fledged Batman game in VR. I think this is a good indication of what we have to look forward to, because even the experience is still more than most experiences, as far as the interaction and getting to use, bat tools and scanners and all sorts of stuff. So.
It's just the detail, like when you're down a back alley and you look on the street, there's actual people walking, and it looks like an actual living and breathing space. The amount of detail, like when you're on the balcony in that alley scene, and you look into the window, you can actually look into the window, and there's actual furniture, and everything looks fully fleshed out, and it doesn't look like it just got that level of detail and polish that you just don't get in indie titles, and it just gets me excited for what games are going to be in a few years' time when we get a fully fleshed out Batman game where you're actually flying around the city, and because obviously this is a Batman game, they've got all the assets, and you can look at all the character models and have them really close up, and the detail is so incredible. It's just, I've never seen a game that just looks this good in VR. It's just so detailed. Look, the hair, the skin textures, the animations. You can pull up Batmobile and you can have a look at it, and you've got the scale of the Batmobile, and you've got the Batwing that flies in.
That Batmobile is badass.
Yeah, it's just so cool. I mean, it's just one of those things that you've got to experience it. I think if you've not done it, you've got to experience it. Just know what you're getting into. This is not a full game. This is not a full fleshed out, AAA game. It's an experience. It's an experience that I can't remember the developer's name. They made this
Rocksteady.
Using the asset. Yeah, Rocksteady. Because the Batman games flat are amazing. I played them, and they're great games as it is. And that's one of their trademarks, is that just the detail that they put into their worlds, and the creativity of the story and everything is just really good. So do not dismiss it. Go into it, play through it, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's like a 45-minute interactive episode or something. In fact, it's longer than that. I think it took me maybe an hour and a half, maybe. So it's like a movie. Just see it as you're basically playing Batman in a movie. Just see it like that. Pick it up on the sale if you want to pick it up, whatever value you think that's worth, but don't dismiss it. Get it. I mean, I got it for £3 on one of these key sites, and I wish I paid more because it was worth it.
You can spend many hours in this game trying to find Riddler's secrets.
Yeah, when you finish the game, I will say, I didn't know this until I heard someone talk about it, but you have to finish watching the credits for that to work. So when I left the game, I finished it and I didn't bother watching the credits, and I just left the game. So then people were saying, "Oh, you've got to go back because there's these Riddler trophies," and I couldn't find them. I was looking for them everywhere, and I'm thinking, "Where's the Riddler trophies?" So then I ended up going. I played a good 30 minutes and couldn't see anything. Went online, and apparently you have to unlock them by finishing the game. So I had to go through all the game again to then watch the credits to then unlock the Riddler trophies. Then you have to activate it. So make sure you watch it to the end of the credits. But yeah, carry on, Justin. You saying what were you saying about
I
them?
think I have at least 5 hours in this game because I was trying to find them all. And when you find one, you unlock stuff that you can actually, I won't say what it is, but you unlock stuff in the game that you can actually look at in 3D and mess with.
Oh, cool.
Well, you can say what they are. I mean, it's
there are
character models.
There are character models. The scene in the Batcave where you can look at character models, where you can unlock all these character models. Harley Quinn's 3D character model is very nice.
Yeah.
But then you can also unlock more vehicles. Like over at the part where you can look at the Batmobile, you can unlock all these other vehicles you can look at and inspect.
And that's the thing about VR, is you wouldn't think that, who gives a shit about unlocking some character models, but because it's in VR and because you're actually it's like the life-size character models that are stood in front of you in 3D, and you can rotate them around and you can watch animations. It just looks so good. It's just again, it's the power of VR that makes even just the simplest of things, like just looking at if you're a fan of Batman, you're gonna freaking love that. You're gonna be able to look at the Joker stood there, pointing a gun and doing all his shit. It's such a good experience, and I've heard so many people complain about it where it was short. Maybe they didn't realize that, but as long as you're aware, and I think you go into it, knowing what it is, then I think you'll just love it. Wes, have you done this? Sorry.
Yeah, Polish. Polish is the name of the game here. This thing is one of the more polished games that I've played in VR, and it really is amazing. The 3D depth is on point. I mean, it has a real feel to it when you're in it. Detailed environments, detailed characters. When these villains look you in the eye and you make eye contact with them, it feels like they're really there looking at you, and it kind of puts a little shiver down your spine. Story-wise, no, not very long, but dark. This is not your kid's superhero game. This is a dark story with an amazing ending, one of the better endings I've experienced in VR. And yeah, very, very, very good game. I haven't done a whole lot of that Riddler stuff. I started on it, probably put about an hour into it, and then it kind of went on the back burner after I finished it. But yeah, this game is on sale constantly. If you don't have this yet and you've got a VR headset, you should definitely pick it up.
Yeah, well, what you were saying about the 3D, I don't know what it is about this game engine, but the 3D is so strong.
It pops, man.
Yeah, when I was playing, I mean, I've been playing VR for a while when I played this, but that introduction, I mean, it's not really spoiling anything because it's right at the beginning, but there's a guy who comes right up to your face. And yeah, I mean, I was like, Jesus, this feels intimidating. This feels like he's actually there in my space because you're the height of a child as well. It makes it even worse. But I want them to make a proper game with this game engine, with these assets and everything. And it runs really well as well. I mean, to say how good it looks, it just shows what's possible. It just shows me what's possible with the current tech we have. This shows me what's possible in VR, graphically, polish, everything. I mean, it just looks like a game from the future almost, just in the level of graphics and the design and the polish this game has. It's incredible.
Part of the reason, part of the reason why the graphics are so good is it has fixed foveated rendering. And you can adjust that in the options menu, and you can make it really clear, and just like it makes the outside a little bit blurrier. I don't know why more games don't have that. That's
true, actually. This is because the Go obviously has it built in, but it's I mean, you don't look at the edges of your lenses because they're distorted anyway. So why not reduce the quality down on the edges and give you a little bit of a boost in performance, because it really does run. I mean, I made sure it was on because I wanted to test it, and you can see it if you're really looking for it. But when you're focused on the game and you're just playing it, you don't notice it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this game is absolutely beautiful, and I experienced this game on the OG PlayStation 4. So I haven't tried it on PC, but it was stunning on the older PlayStation 4. So I could only imagine what it looks like on the PC.
It's the wizardry. That's what it is. Yeah, and the ending, you said it's one of the best in VR. I think it's one of the best in any game. Yeah, I mean, there's not many games that I can think of a better ending than this. So you've got to experience the ending. I mean, I know Roots, you kind of weren't interested for a while, but I know the ending probably switched it for you. Maybe.
It did. It literally, and I'm not even exaggerating. I literally sat there with my mouth open for about 5 to 10 seconds, like what just happened. So if anything, that alone, to find out what I'm talking about, that's the reason to play. It was amazing. It made me think. I'm glad. It really made me think. I'm glad that I'm doing this show, because I would have never gone back in it if Alex wasn't talking about it today. And I imagine a lot of the people that watch this show probably get the exact same thing out of it. So that's why I love it. So
cool. Okay, anyone else want to say anything before we move on? No, I've gushed enough over that then. Let's move back to Roots. What's your second game?
Second game is Karnage Chronicles. Just came out with a content update not too long ago. It's been out since April 24th, 2017. Nordic tool or trolls, not tools. Nordic trolls make it are the developers, and if this isn't a perfect game that's shows you that not all early access sucks ass. This game came out and it was amazing when it came out, but they've continually added on, and it just gets better and better. And I've currently played through with Justin. We got all the way through to the end of the content that exists, and it was with two people. It was not a pushover. The waves just kept coming, and I just had so much fun. I was laughing so hard. They've got things you can grab that like starts a little dialogue every time you grab it, and so like as soon as that thing stopped going off and saying it, I either Justin or I are grabbing it and it's starting it over. It was one of the most fun multiplayer experiences I've had, and I would submit even between both bow and arrow and melee in there. It's one of the best dungeon crawlers I've done in a while. The inventory menu, just everything about it is amazing. Justin, what did you think about this one?
Oh, I thought it was so awesome. And it was really challenging. He and I had to restart way more times than most humans would be willing. And I don't know, we just fought so many enemies. There were even naked harpies coming at us at one point, and that was pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, if you like co-op, definitely get this. Even single player. I mean, I played this single player, back when it first came out, and I thought it was awesome back then. The graphics are great, and there's just a little bit of jank sometimes. Occasionally, some weird stuff will happen. We had some problems like with our audio, like talking to each other sometimes.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's awesome, and the boss battles are pretty amazing. Not sure what else.
I like the mechanics too. Like they even have like a guy that looks like Raiden, and he's a healer, and you got to make sure you take him out before, because he's healing. It took us a while. We're like, why are these guys not going down? And we realize there's an actual healer in there, and I haven't seen that in too many VR games, which is pretty standard in most flat games to have something of that sort. So I think this is a good indication of where dungeon crawlers are going. And like I said, early access, I think it's still in early access. They're still adding to it. These developers are amazing. Just putting out more content. So
it's 3 or 4 player co-op, and yeah, you can, as you're going through the levels, you're finding all this treasure, and there are like clay pots everywhere, and if you can hit them with your bow and arrow, and like you'll find more treasures. There's hidden stuff. There are puzzles occasionally. They're pretty simple puzzles, but at least it changes it up a little bit. And when you get that money, you can go into shops and buy better armor, buy different weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped in with you guys that time, and I didn't really get to play anything because you had already executed everything, Justin. So everything was already dead. You'd already, it was a barren wasteland after you'd been in there. But yeah, while we were trying to get to some enemies, what was there was so beautiful. Such a beautiful game. Just the lighting as well. I mean, like the reflections of the water, and then they've got the lights, like the blue lights reflecting off the cobblestones and everything. And there's just like this. I was walking across this bridge, and this little creature ran across, and it looked so. It was obviously not real, but it was, the animations and everything was really good. So I'm interested in giving this a go. But I know that I think they're bringing one more level maybe or something until it's released. So I might wait for that and then play through the game. But yeah, from what I've seen, graphically very impressive. Okay, Wes, what's your second game?
I just wanted to talk for a minute about Just in Time Incorporated. I'm going to stick with the theme of bullet time because that time manipulation is the gimmick for this one too. Honestly, I wasn't very psyched about this game when I saw it. There's something about the Minecraft style visuals that always turns me off, but I started to hear reviews on this game. I think Brian Paul, maybe it was, that raved about it. A couple of more game cats whose opinions I trust. So I caught it on sale one day and I gave it a try. And I got to say, this surprised me. It was a lot of fun. Um, the whole hook with this game is you work for a insurance company, and people buy policies to, and your job is to ensure that they don't get killed. And it's always high risk situations, soldiers, emergency workers, uh, the president there you can see. Uh, all you're put into these high risk situations that normally would be impossible to prevent the person's death, but you have time manipulation on your side. And basically, like Super Hot before, this is a strategy game / puzzle game where you have to find a way to defuse the problem before it kills the client. And there the individual levels are fairly short in most cases, but there are a lot of them. I don't remember exactly how many it was, but it was something like 15, 20, 25 levels that you play through in this thing, and super duper fun. And you can pick this game up for less than $10 fairly frequently. And yeah, I recommend it. If you can catch it on sale, definitely check it out. Have any of you guys played this one?
Yeah, I got it. And I liked it enough that I wanted to play it every day until I got through it all. It was so much fun. I mean, it's basically a puzzle game where you just got to figure out, all right, I got to do this thing, and then this thing in this correct order or time it perfectly. So you're going to fail a lot until you finally figure out what it is you have to actually do. I mean, it's sort of like Super Hot in the sense that it's time and you got to, figure out, all right, I do this, then I should kill that, then I should do that, then this. It was a lot of fun. I was surprised actually because like he said, I didn't think it was going to be it doesn't look very good, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like Lego Super Hot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, it sounds a mix like I Expect You to Die in Super Hot with the way that you have to keep repeating over and over until you figure out the right way to do it.
Yeah.
It is like I Expect You to Die. I Expect You to Die in the sense that there's no one right way to win. There's multiple ways you can achieve your goal, and a lot of different scenarios. Very, very creative. Yeah, I was like Justin. I played it constantly until I beat it, and yeah, again, loads of fun.
I obviously need to give it a go. It's one that I've always kind of the look of it's always made me not try it. Yeah, so maybe I should try it.
Yeah, you'll love it, dude. I actually just went back into it this morning just to refresh myself because I had gotten to the Indiana Jones one.
That was cool.
Yeah, and I never passed it for some reason, and so I died like 4 or 5 times past it, and it unlocked a whole new area, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude! Like it just it's so unique, and like Wes was saying, there's so many different ways you can, like, you don't even have to kill the things. You can grab somebody's knife and then go to somebody else and they'll get another knife. You could grab it again, or you can stab them in the face, or you can, like, I mean, there's just different, so many different ways that you can solve the riddle, I guess, of some sort. And then each one, it's so ridiculous, like the stories, and like you got an old couple going across the street and you got to stop them from getting, dying, and the rats coming in, and I don't know, man. I enjoyed everything. I don't even think that the graphics are that bad. Like I look at it as like you watch a cartoon movie and you realize it's not real live people, but you still watch it because it's a good story or it's a good game. Doesn't even bother me. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I tell you, some of these levels too are not easy. I mean, the early ones are easy, but some of this stuff is very hard. Like there's this one where you're trying to lead this group of people, I think it's out of a church or something, to the end of the street, and these like killer crows or I can't remember. Birds kept coming after them, and man, it took me forever to beat that thing because those crows stay everywhere. They're all over the place, and they come from every direction, and you have to figure out a way to kill them in groups. And just a ton of fun, very challenging, very creative, very fun.
Cool. Anyone else got anything to say? Nope. Okay, Justin, what's your second game?
Second game is another first-person shooter by id Software, is Wolfenstein, but this is a free sort of remake of it, with with some improved graphics. This is on itch.io, and anyone can download it. You can use it with Rift Vive, WMR. This is my video I made of it. There's no excuse not to get it unless you don't like first-person shooters. Otherwise, you have to get it. So like you can use both hands. Your left hand, you use it to open doors, and then your right hand, you have a weapon in it. A gun, a regular handgun, a machine gun, a minigun, and you can find food. If you've ever played Wolfenstein, it's the same thing, just with some improved graphics and obviously in VR. And when you kill guys, pixels of blood splatter everywhere, and it'll go up on the ceiling, and it's I don't know. It's some of the best fun I've had in VR. And see, they'll come up behind you, and you're like, oh shit, and their blood goes everywhere. And I played this so much that there's a leaderboard. As far as I know, I still have the top score.
You do 701,000. Yeah, I just saw last night.
Okay, and I've said this before, but if anyone beats my high score and can prove it was them, I will buy you a game of your choice. You just gotta contact me and prove it. That's how confident I am. I spent a lot of time trying to get that high score, and if you die, it starts all over from the beginning. I died so many times. Like I got to like close to the final level, and some guys popped out of nowhere that I didn't know were there and killed me, and I screamed in anger. Many times because somebody else had the high score for a while, and I don't know where I was, like third or second, and I finally did it. And so like these pots here, you can shoot those and they shatter like that, like that's and it's very 3D. So the guy that made it specifically for VR, and that's very 3D there. So it's not just like a 2D sprite and these chandeliers. So it's every level in the first episode. It would be awesome if he could do other episodes, but I think because this was a shareware one, he can get away with this one, but not maybe the other ones that cost money. And there's a final boss that you get to, big dude with chain guns, and there are dogs. You can set in the options like to just like pet the dogs instead of killing them if you don't like killing dogs, and and that'll make them go to sleep, I think. And you can eat their dog food, and that'll give you some health back. Nice. And see, you can just pull it up, and I think it was like press grip maybe, and then you can see your stats to see your health and how much ammo you have and all that. And all the secrets that are in the original are in this. So that's another. I love finding secrets in games. That's just one of my all-time favorite things to do. So I'm going around all the walls, like especially if there are paintings or anything, I'm touching them all. Like if there's a painting of Hitler, you need to push that, and like a lot of times, you'll hear the sound and it'll go, and then it'll slide out, and then you'll go in there and find a secret. So that's how I got such the high score. I tried to memorize where all the secrets are, and got all the treasure I possibly could, and that was the secret there. Did any of you guys play this?
I played it before, and then I played it again this morning and last night, and I was blown away at the detail. Like you said, not only is the blood splatter, but like it drips down, and it looks really good. Mm-hmm. And I'm very impressed of the mixture between 3D and flat. Like you'll be seeing all this really cool 3D stuff, and then you come across a guy and he's coming at you, but he's a flat, pixelated flat guy. So it's kind of like an artistic way of doing it. And yeah, like you can even change the guns. It looks like you did as well to make them look more realistic. Mm-hmm. And I just thought even the aiming and the shooting was very spot on and felt good. And found that I could get headshots just like any other game. Like you would expect, maybe it might be a little jank or something, but I feel like this is a full-fledged game that you could actually sell even with what you have now. Like you said, it's level 1, but that or the first floor or whatever it's considered in the
Yeah,
game.
first episode.
Yeah, episode, but there's what, 12 or 15 levels, or I don't know. The levels aren't that small either,
Yeah,
so probably took you 2-3 hours of just getting through them if
it's a
you're
while.
not even going with all the hidden stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely it blew me away again. I had forgotten how good this is for a free game, and I agree with Justin. There's really is no reason not to download it unless you just hate first person shooters or you or just are against a free game. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Fuck free games.
Well, you want to be objective, right? If you take free stuff, you might not.
Oh, no, stop. Oh, no. Let's not stop.
But,
Oh, you fucking
so,
twat. You know, man. Right, let's not talk about
okay.
that.
Pause for edit.
Edit that out.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you can shoot the light bulbs out. I forgot about that.
Oh, that is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
let's talk about light bulbs. Okay.
What else was I gonna say? Shit, I don't remember.
Thanks, Roots.
Yeah.
If anyone else has got anything else to say, I've got mine to talk about. So,
Okay.
only problem, I've got 5 minutes until bell time. So,
Okay.
Oh
Okay,
wait,
so-
yeah. The thing was,
Go on.
I'll put the link in the description to this game. That's all.
are you gonna put a link in for the X-wings one as well?
Yeah.
Looking for that. Okay. Yeah. So the last game we're going to talk about today is my second game, which is Kin. This is, I believe it's not an Oculus exclusive because it or is it an Oculus exclusive? It was on Gear VR originally, and then it was on the Go, and it was on. You can get it on the Rift as well. It's a gamepad game. You can actually use a touch controller as a gamepad, which is how I played it, I believe. But yeah, it's a cool little platformer, like a 3D platformer. You're going through level to level. You've got to take this little character through these levels, getting one from one end to the other. You've got like hack and slash sort of mechanics where you can attack and then dodge. So these big cubes come at you, and then you have to kind of dodge and then attack and dodge and attack. And I just really enjoyed this game. It's very simple graphics. Obviously, it runs on the go. I'm presuming it'll come to the Quest at some point as well. And I just like it's got like that cool little music to it. The gameplay, I liked the feel of the game. It felt very fluid, and you can really just like dodge and attack, and it gets quite hard later on in the game. So it's not like a really easy game either. And it's got a really cool look to it. And the story kind of it's like got a semi-story, which it doesn't tell with any sort of voice acting or any sort of dialogue. It's just you just see the story play out, and like it's difficult to explain, but it does kind of take you on a journey as you go through. And it starts out like as you can see on the screen now, where you're kind of like in the sun and it's all sand and nice, and then as you go through the game, it gets darker and darker in theme. And then you've got this big boss battle at the end. And I played through this. This is one of those, like what Justin says, when you really like a game, you just play through it pretty quickly. And I just played through it, I think, like 2 or 3 nights in a row, and just really, really enjoyed it. It's one of those where it doesn't look like much, but it's really fun. The only thing I will say is that you are quite far away sometimes, so it's quite difficult to see your character. I presume they're called Kin, but I don't know. So I can imagine on the go or the Gear VR, this would be quite frustrating sometimes because obviously you can't move in. But on the Rift, you can lean in, or sometimes I'd lean back and then reset my camera so I was a bit closer to the action. So you can obviously do something about that, and you'll be able to do something about it on the Quest. But that's really the only criticism I've got. I love the game design. I love the feel of the combat. There's like puzzly elements, like platform games work really well in VR because you've got that 3D depth, so you can see where you're going. Like a lot of problems with flat like platforms like this is that sometimes it can be frustrating because you'll miss a ledge because you can't quite judge how far away you are to obviously land on something. Whereas within things like this, with like Moss or with this Kin, you can really judge. And even Astro Bot and things, which I know I haven't played, but I can imagine how much easier it would be. The depth of how far something is away, even like with Windlands, you can control where you land so much easier because you can you've got that depth of how far away the scale, you know how far away you are to things. So that's one of those things where there's so many different genres which benefit from VR. Even just the 3D aspect of it helps with the gameplay. Yes, someone else.
Roots, what did you think about this game?
I liked it. I think the gameplay, like he said, is no joke. It progresses to where mechanically you do need to know your moves, and those square things want to fuck you up. Those things are exploding. Yeah, I mean it's got some crazy mechanics. And I agree with what Alex is saying. It just the distance sometimes will make it a little bit of a challenge, but that's part of the game and I love platformers in VR, so I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it looks like it has some light puzzles in it too. I really dig light puzzles. I'd never heard of this game before, just now, so maybe I'll check it out if it does come to Quest. But it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I imagine it's coming to the Quest. It's on the go. Obviously wasn't a launch title, but I think they're just trickling them out. So it's going to be a really easy one for the dev to port over to the Quest, because I don't think he's even going to really need to do anything from the Go version. So, like I said, the aesthetics of it are so simple that it's not really pushing the processor or anything. But it's just, I don't know. It's just really cool little game. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, and I'd recommend it if you're looking for a little game for your Go, or even for the Rift right now, or you're getting a Quest and you want to keep an eye out for it. I'd definitely pick it up when it comes out. Anyone else? Nope. Tumbleweed. Okay. Right then. So I think that's it. We're done for the weekly show. This should be up on Mondays. We're trying to get these done every week on time. So hopefully no technical difficulties. We'll get this out Monday morning. Wes is usually in charge of that because he's pretty good with the... got to thank Wes sometimes because he has to do a lot of work sometimes with his shit. So thank you for listening. Anyone else got anything to say before we leave? Any other topics, subjects? No? Okay, that's it. We will see you same time next week.
All right, thanks for watching.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks.